because their events really dig deep. They dig deep into opportunities for us to solve urging needs and opportunities to improve our organizations and operations. And so today's topic over the next couple of days is no different. It's all about leadership. And what can we say? We'll be saying a lot. And most importantly, we've got a great lineup of speakers, but more importantly, we've got great knowledge in the audience. So our opportunity is really to learn from one another. The people that will be up here is just to help facilitate and stimulate some dialogue and some thinking. And like any event that you attend, if you can go home with one or two good takeaways that help you think about how you can look at your business differently, then we've all accomplished what we came here for. So we can all understand the importance of good quality leaders and leadership, and think about the need to have good people in place to drive our business, to motivate our employees, to help drive CSAT for the customers that we serve, and most importantly, to allow us to sleep comfortably at night. I think one of the most difficult challenges we have is finding good people. And I think that's regardless of any business. It just so happens that here in the Philippines, it's the most thriving industry, so it makes the challenge just a little bit greater, right? So leadership in identification of good quality people, and how do you identify them, how do you career path them, how do you take them to the next level, how do you level up your organization, is something that I know is critical and important to all of us. So I've got a real simple definition of leadership here, and we've taken it from Forbes. There's many, many ways to describe leadership, but if you think about it as a process of social influence, and I like that, social influence, which maximizes the efforts and the work of others. So how can we motivate, stimulate, and socialize our workforce to really do what we all want to have happen, which is achieve our goals, whether it be financial, whether it be performance, whether it be CSAT, on and on and on. So leadership is a pretty big word, and today, over the next couple of days, we're going to talk about it. And this is a statistic that came out of some studies in Asia that talk about the fact that really it's very difficult to identify leaders within an organization. Matter of fact, when surveyed, 40% of the respondents said they just weren't capable or were really, really challenged to find capable people to join their management team. And I think that also leads itself to the fact that maybe the reality is many of those people are right under our noses. Maybe we don't know how to properly identify them. Maybe we don't know how to properly career path them and motivate them and retain them. So I'm sure over the next couple of days we're going to talk about identifying high potentials, how do we motivate them, how do we stimulate them, how do we retain them, how do we grow. So if we look at if we think about what are some of our challenges, the challenges that we have as an industry, and we'll just refer to it as IT BPO generically, right? It doesn't matter if you're in a shared services environment, customer care, you're doing F&A, you're doing any number of different types of work that rolls up into our industry. It's really how do we identify the growing need of leaders, and how do we fight this what can sometimes be a perceived lack of availability. How do we manage what some people refer to as the peer-to-leader syndrome? You know, we're growing so fast, so you're my peer and you're my coworker one day, and in 6 months, 8 months, a year's time, you're now my mentor and my boss and my coach. And so how do we deal with those types of issues of going from peer to leader? Because we have to identify those high potentials, right? How do we identify people with leadership qualities? How do we prepare people to become leaders? So these are all things that we'll be addressing, and it's not my place up here today to answer those questions, because we're going to address them collectively over the next couple of days. But if you think about an organization, whether this is your organization, it's half of your organization, or multiply these numbers times 10, if you look at an organization of roughly 500 people, okay, 500-person organization. And again, it doesn't matter to me if it's voice or non-voice. But if you look at, in terms of representatives or frontliners to supervisors, maybe you're at a 15-to-1 ratio of frontliners to production folks, supervisors to agents. If you look at managers, maybe it's one manager for every 5 supervisors. Your numbers are going to be different. Maybe it's one director for every 5 managers. Maybe it's one trainer for every 100 people. Maybe it's one QA person for every 50 people. Whatever those numbers are, whatever it means to your organization. If you're an organization of 500 people, you've got over 60 people in leadership positions. Not to start to talk about F&A, HR, and all the other support critical positions. So in a 500-person organization, leadership accounts for a minimum of 12 to 15% of your additional headcount. So how do you identify those people? And how do you identify those people that are going to take your organization to the next level? So, I think that's one of the reasons why you agreed to be here, right? We understand that there's challenges out there. We understand that in order for us to grow both dynamically and to support both our shareholder value, create the type of rewards and recognition that the organization deserves, we've got to find the people. We've got to develop the people. And we certainly clearly understand the need for good quality leadership. I'll just share with you a very, very quick story that happened last night. I've got a couple of clients in from out of town. We had a nice dinner, and we had more people in town than we normally have. So we got an extra driver to help drive us and take us around. So we were in a nice restaurant in Surrendra. Now we're going back to our TDS, and I'm not paying much attention, but I look up and I say, boy, here's a sign that says Marikina and Antipolo. We're going the wrong way. Now, I go to the driver and say, I think you've made a mistake. Selection criteria wasn't very good. He didn't understand my English. Selection criteria was really bad because this was a driver that had no sense of direction. So it's a very simple example of selection process. Where did leadership come in? Driver, move over. I'm going to drive. And so now it's quite late. Whether I should or shouldn't say, we've had a couple bottles of wine. The windows are very tinted and hard to see. My eyes are getting kind of old, but I figured I was in a better position to drive than our driver was. So, here we failed the selection process, had to demonstrate leadership, whether it was the right decision or not, but we're confronted with these decisions on how to select and how to guide, whether it's in our home life, whether it's in our business, all the time. So it's kind of a fun topic, leadership. Without getting into the nitty-gritty of it, let's just real quickly identify what are some of the leadership traits that we look for. Just some characteristics of a good leader. Somebody help me out. Just name one, real loud. Come on. Good quality leadership. What would be a characteristic?
Able to manage change.
Yeah. Change management. Able to manage change. How about another one?
Proactive.
Proactive. How about another one? Integrity. Good one. How about another one?
Passion.
Passion is critical. Anybody else want to volunteer? Communication skills. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's lots of ways to define a leader, but a leader has to be a developer of people, a driver of performance, and an excellent motivator and communicator, right? Those are just some of the traits. And those are some of the things we'll talk about over the next several days. So, in kind of conclusion and wrapping up and getting ready to introduce soon our first kickoff speaker, this 2-day conference is really about the opportunity for all of us to work collaboratively. One beautiful thing about this industry, and what I found is, you can really be open. All of us experience challenges. And if we're going to grow, and we're going to grow collectively as an industry, and we're going to grow individually as an organization, it's a beautiful thing to be able to talk through these issues with other fellow practitioners. So I'm going to encourage you over the next couple of days, and that's part of my job, is to make sure that we interact with with one another and learn from one another. So I'm going to ask you to open up and feel relaxed in sharing and see how we can grow together. Because it's a monumental opportunity. I didn't say problem. It's a monumental opportunity for us to figure it out and continue to figure it out. Let's face it, 2014 we did a great job. 1 million people employed in the industry. 1 million people employed. How do we continue to drive that? How do we continue to take it to the next level? It's not going to happen without good leaders, right? So we've got a great opportunity ahead of us. So again, please work collaboratively and think creatively. Let's share best practices on addressing leadership needs. Let's think about how perhaps you can modify some of your thinking in terms of what are some of the takeaways. So, I don't know if we still have clicker issues or not, but we're here to share and to learn and to challenge one another. And I'll just leave you with one last message before I turn over the podium. I love our industry and I'm passionate about our industry, but as a young child, I had a passion about another professional career. I used to be a professional entertainer. And as a young boy, I took a significant interest in magic. And magic played a very important part of my life. I paid 100% of my college performing, got to travel 16 countries in Europe performing. My wife and mother of our children, as a girl, I used to put the box and cut in 3 pieces. And pleasantly put her back together, and she's still supporting me. So magic is an important part of my life. And my mom always said, you know, Johnny, if you can't educate him, try to entertain him a little bit. Because at least he'll leave with a smile on your face. So I'd like to start off with a quick magic trick, just to get your imaginary juices flowing, if I will. So if you'll bear with me, because it doesn't matter what size the audience is, whether it's thousands of people or a nice full room of people, I like to indulge on you just a little bit. So I picked a magic effect that deals with imagination, because imagination is critical. Imagination plays a very important role in why we're here over the next couple of days. How can we imagine the things that we're going to hear about and imagine where they might play a role in your organization? We talked about change management. We talked about dynamic thinking. So using your imagination and being somewhat of a retired magician or a lazy magician, I'd like you to use your imagination to work with me. I have a deck of playing cards right here. Can you see them? Back in the cheap seats, can you see them okay? Very good, very good. I'm going to take the deck of playing cards, and excuse me if I toss them to you right in the middle. Will you catch them for me? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Will you stand up? Up! One-handed catch. Professional. Excellent. Stand up, please, if you would. Introduce yourself to our friends here. Hi, Ricky. What I'd like you to do is, so you're satisfied that I don't know what particular order those cards are, just shuffle them up for me. Ricky, I'm going to take them out of the box first. Turns out box, shuffle them up. Make sure you're satisfied that I don't know what particular order those cards are in, and just as a magician would do, spread the cards out. You can go to a table where you don't know somebody. Introduce yourself. Hi, Ricky. And be sure to select a card, please. Just one. Very good. And can you stand up, please? And your name?
Shy from HP.
Hi, Shy. Good to see you. Welcome to HP. I'll tell you what. You hold that card up, let everybody look. I'm going to turn my back so I don't see it. Make sure you know what that card is. And what I'd like you to do is place that card back in the deck, turn face up. Turn face up. And if you, Ricky, would put the cards back in the box. And if you wouldn't mind, just take those cards, they're in the box, and just throw them over to me. Let me just throw them over here, that's fine. Oh! Very good. Now, I'll tell you what, wouldn't it be a coincidence, perhaps, maybe even a minor miracle? You know, who does the big miracle stuff? Wouldn't it be a minor miracle if the only card turned face up in this entire pack was the card that you selected? That'd be pretty good, wouldn't it? For the first time, tell everybody the card that you saw.
2 of hearts.
2 of hearts. 2 of hearts. Let's talk about leadership for just a minute. It's a very important topic that you could have selected any card in the deck. I want you to select just one card. And as you look cards could have been selected. I asked you to select one, and the one card that you selected is placed back in the deck, turned face up. Happens to be the two of hearts, right in the middle where I asked you to place it. Let's give her a big round of applause. All these cards that you could have selected, I'm not quite sure how you did it, but I'm glad you did it because the two of hearts was the only blue card in the deck. So again, give her a big round of applause.